Hey family, welcome back to the channel. So glad you could join me. If you've noticed that this is my third video in a row wearing the same thing, it's because I'm doing it all in the same day, just for you guys, because it's been like 5 months since I posted my last video. So I have lots of content. But today we're going to be talking about the gallbladder. So we're going to start with Romero's book and the gallbladder, talking about the metaphysics behind disease in the gallbladder and what it means and how to heal it from the inside. All right, so he says the gallbladder is a pear-shaped deposit in which the bile secreted by the liver accumulates and where it is retained until it is poured into digestion when necessary. So the liver and the gallbladder are very, very interrelated, interconnected. When they're blocked, their symptoms do display differently, but healing them kind of comes into the same realm. So one day maybe I'll do something on liver so you can see, but it could help tackle the same thing. It is like a charge of aggressiveness that is retained to be used at the right moment. The gallbladder not only participates in the physical digestion of food, but also has an equivalent role in the psychological digestion of events. So you see how everything in metaphysics, it takes something that is on a physical realm and interprets it for the spiritual or metaphysical side of things. So it's digestion. Are you able to digest, tolerate, handle in a healthy way the things that are happening in your life, just as like does the gallbladder digest what's coming in the physical way? On a physical level, it saves the bile that helps in digestion. On an emotional and psychological level, it digests, decomposes, and destroys aggressiveness, irritation, and bitterness, resentment in front of my life or towards others. If I have problems with my gallbladder, they warn me that I am living with a grudge for something that has happened within my territory, home, work, city, country, etc., which has to do with the way I communicate with others or vice versa. Because of this, I am experiencing a great injustice from which I cannot protect myself or defend myself because it is related to my father, mother, partner, brother, boss, someone to whom I feel very attached, and for that I must repress my negative emotions. And he puts into quotations, I can't hit ... Okay, so for all of you who were spanked as children, in the same way, or if you were abused or something, in a partnership or something like that, in the same way, I can have discomfort if I feel that I have lost my identity and my territory because I do not have the right to think, express my opinion, feel what I want, and in addition, I always have to justify my actions, and I perceive that I am being treated unfairly, which leads me to live with a lot of anger and rage. I no longer know who I am. That's what he has in quotations. In quotations again, my opinion is not valid. They no longer take me into account. I can never make decisions in my life. I can also present problems if I discover that I have been misled by someone with whom I am very close. I will never forget my partner's betrayal, for example. So then he says, recommendations, and he does talk about the intrahepatic bile duct as well as the extrahepatic bile duct, but I'm not going to go into that. He talks about pancreatic ducts as well. People with gallbladder disorders feel a strong desire and a great tendency to force, use, manipulate, and direct others, although it is difficult for them to recognize it. So it's on that deeply hidden subconscious level. Through the gallbladder, we express the ability we have to see clearly in ourselves with honesty. That is, it helps us to clarify and discern. Recommendations to recover physical, emotional, and spiritual health. I must realize that I have a rigid behavior to get rid of it. The solution is to stop planning everything. Let me flow and act according to my wishes. I need to learn to take life with joy and optimism in what it offers me. I have to accept that no one will misjudge me if I do things differently from how they taught me. I must maintain a softer and more compromising attitude with myself and with others. It is important to learn to see clearly, to discern, to embrace the middle ground. I learned to evaluate the equanimity, my share of responsibility in a situation. I express my repressed moodiness in a positive and conscious way. I am willing to overcome laziness and obstacles that stand in my way. And he says that very violent movements and loud yelling relieve pain and can prevent stone formation. Y'all, when I read this, I wanted to cry. Like the first time I read this, I wanted to cry and kind of did. And then I even felt energy moving down from my body because I resonated with quite a bit of this. So if it resonates with you, it's telling you something. So now let's see what Louise Hay has to say about the gallbladder. And hers specifically says gallstones or cholelithiasis, all right? And of course, stones, she's talking about bitterness, hard thoughts, condemnation, and pride. Those are all the reasons that create gallstones. So bitterness, hard thoughts, condemnation, pride, hard thoughts, stones. You see how everything, play on words aren't for, there's no coincidence there, it just is. And then she says, affirmations to get rid of it is, there is a joyous release of the past. Life is so sweet, and so am I. So, a couple months ago, I can't remember exactly when this was. I was laying in bed. I had to go to work. It's crazy early, nurse life, having to be there super early. So I woke up and I just had this gnawing, very gnawing sense of anxiety. And I, being a Reiki practitioner, I'm like, all right, where is it in the body? I know it's an energy thing. What's happening here? Because I didn't have anything in my life to be anxious about, even though I was having to get up early to go to work. It was okay, but I knew that something wasn't right. And so I was like, all right, body, where is this coming from? So I start to scan, doing my internal scan. And all of a sudden, I realized it's coming from right here, this right upper quadrant. And I had issues there, but I thought that because my right hip was messed up for so long that it was a muscular imbalance, which that too. But the gnawing sensation that kind of felt like a deep, angry irritation was what I was noticing. And I was like, okay. So, of course, I'm doing Reiki on it. And then I drive to work, and I get to work, and I'm about to climb the stairs up to the 4th floor, and all of a sudden I have the urge to say, I'm willing to release whatever it is that is creating this disharmony within me. I literally have to run up the stairs because I'm about to barf everywhere. As soon as I say that, my body was like, okay, we're releasing it, let's go. And so I run up the stairs, run into the bathroom, and just vomit. And I hadn't eaten yet, thank God. So it wasn't too crazy, but you know how that stomach acid is. But anyway, so I'm throwing up. Of course, I'm just feeling like there's all this, I just feel so fatigued. And then throughout the day, I was like, I'm all right. I'm just going to sit with this. I'm going to make sure I wash my hands and wash up real good because, I've got to go see patients. But I'm going to sit with this and figure out what this is, And so then all of a sudden, I would have these belches that smelled like Cheerios. Nice, right? Does that make your appetite say, yeah, let's eat something? But so I started having these belches that tasted and smelled like Cheerios. So I Googled it because I had no idea what was going on. And it was that's a symptom of gallbladder disease. I'm like, well, I guess it makes sense. It's that right upper quadrant, And so it keeps happening. And then periodically I keep having to vomit. But the intensity keeps becoming less and less, and that gnawing pain or feeling that was in my stomach starts to dissipate. So what happens when we start to store these emotions, and what I realized mine was feeling like life was deeply unfair, just having this deep sense of unfairness in my life, being a single mom, having to do everything on my own, stuff from childhood, things like that. And I realized how much I had been holding that, how much I had swept it under the rug, to the point where, yeah, I wasn't thinking about it really anymore, but that it was still living inside of my body. And because everything is energy, if it went in, it had to come out. And the way it was coming out was through vomiting. It's amazing, how it can translate. You clear it up, but it comes in through a form that you would never expect. And so it's so important to see yourself as an energy body. You're not just this physical being that we need to cut everything. Oh, you don't really need that thing, so we'll just cut it out. That's like the response to everything. And no fault to the medical providers. It's just that they don't know this stuff, and they don't have the tools. It's drilled into them for 8 years or so, and thousands of hours, of work and school and everything like that. So that this is their go-to. It's your job now to wake up and be your own best advocate and heal yourself from the inside out, or else you can be on someone's table under the knife. The issue with cutting it out is that it doesn't actually heal the energy behind it. It just moves somewhere else. So I know, I always have patients who, I look through their history, and they're here for another surgery, but the list of surgeries that they've had in the past is a mile long, and they're on all these medications and all these things because they're not healing the root cause of their illness. So, yeah, it's important to really connect with the body and really know what is living within you, and scanning the body. I do this in my one about bacterial vaginosis. I go through sensing the energy body by seeing the light inside the body, funneling it down, into a certain area. You can do that. You can just say, okay, where am I feeling this? And then connecting with it, being able to sense your body within your body, like putting your awareness into the area that doesn't feel good, and kind of having a conversation, and then saying, yes, I do want to release this. I don't want to let this, I do want to let this go. I don't want to live with this anymore. I choose to be free is a huge catalyst for our body to be like, okay, all right, thank God. Yeah. Let's let this go. All right. And so as I was looking through more information, content to give you guys, I remembered I had this beauty, and thinking about the gallbladder, and there's actually a gallbladder meridian. So meridian, I'm just going to read part of the passage from this book. It says, meridians and acupressure points are an invisible network of life energy, pathways through which ki, or chi, energy travels the body. There are 12 main meridians and 365 primary acupressure points in the body. You have a literal gallbladder meridian. All right. And I'll read what that is in a minute. In the perspective of Eastern medicine, disease is created because the flow of ki energy that travels through meridians and acupressure points is blocked and imbalanced. So the goal of meridian exercise is to open the passageways so ki energy can flow freely. Now, when I went to a retreat in Arizona, and that's where I found this information. And at the time I was still just practicing Reiki. And she's like, yeah, Reiki practitioners only deal with energy, but in Korea, we focus a lot on the physical body. So they focus okay, how can I move? They're doing Tai Chi and Qigong and all of these things, two very, very wonderful techniques to help get your chi to flow. in a healthy way to unblock any blocks that you have. But I thought that this was just like the answer that I had been looking for, because I was still struggling. Like a lot of stuff, like Reiki helped me wake up to a lot of things that were within me, but it didn't clear everything. And so this was just another tool that I use, and it has been very, very beneficial for me. So now let's go ahead and look at the gallbladder meridian. Okay, so if you can see, you see those different pressure points. There's like the line, the red line that runs along the body, but then there is also the points along that line, and those are the pressure points, the acupressure points that he was talking about. And if you think about it, so if you do have gallbladder stuff, ask yourself, what's going on with my fourth toe? That's the toe just to the inside of your baby toe. What's going on with my lower shin, with my knee, with my quadricep, maybe with my hip, my pelvis? What about my rib? Is there anything going up into the top of my shoulder, near my neck, and into the side of my head? Because all of that is connected. All right. And then I believe the liver is right below it. Yeah, this is the liver meridian that is right below it. Now you'll notice that the liver meridian actually comes from the big toe, and then the gallbladder meridian comes from the fourth toe. And so they do present a little bit differently, but they both go up into that rib cage. So if you're having trouble underneath the rib cage, around the rib cage, it may be either or both. And then he talks about he gives different exercises, which he probably does talk about the gallbladder somewhere, but it doesn't specifically state gallbladder like under the digestive system. He talks about the liver pretty extensively and gives lots of exercises about that. So this says that symptoms of blocked energy for the gallbladder meridian, temporal headaches, migraines, or problems in the face, ears, skin, armpits, knees, or the outer legs or feet. It encircles a large area from the head to the feet on both sides of the body. When you suffer from headaches or have all of the problems that were listed, the gallbladder meridian is very effective in clearing that. Problems in the liver or the gallbladder can cause a bluish look in the whites of the eye, low energy with a feeble voice, or a high-pitched voice. For these symptoms, practice meridian exercises that stimulate the gallbladder meridian, all of which you can Google. You don't have to buy this book. You can Google gallbladder meridian exercises and just do them from home. So it helps stimulate that meridian, which flows through the sides of the body from the outer eye to the ear, the temple, over the top of the head, and then, all of the ones that we discussed. Okay, so I know my story was a little gross, but hopefully, if you feel called to heal yourself from within, this will be a helpful tool for you. Okay, if you have any questions about it, let me know. If this worked for you, also let me know. Looking forward to hearing from you, and even if it helps just one person, So, all right, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I look forward to another video with you. All right, love and light.